Hello, I'm Helen Bradley. Welcome to this video tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create a Metaball pattern tile in Illustrator. Before we get started with this video tutorial, let's look and see what it is that we're going to achieve. We're going to create a repeating pattern like this, which is a Metaball shape. It's a computer graphic shape of two circles that are sort of partially joined to each other. And we're going to create this as a repeating pattern. And I'm going to show you how you could do this in different colors as well. To get started though, we'll need a script. Now you can create your metaballs in Illustrator yourself, but it's just so much easier using a script, and it does get you started with scripting in Illustrator, which I think is just a valuable tool to have. Not that you're going to write the scripts, but you're going to be able to find, download and install and use other people's scripts. So I'll give you the page for this, but what you're going to do is download this scripts file. And I've done this a few times, so it's coming up as version 2 here. But I'm just going to show this in the folder, and then I'm going to go and open it. So this is the zip file open, and we're going to need to extract the files. So we're going to click on extracting files, and we're just going to extract them somewhere where we can find them. So again, I've already extracted these before, but let's just go on right over the top of what I had before. So here are the scripts, and the one that we're particularly interested in is this Metaball JSX script, because this is the one that actually lets us create these Metaball shapes. Well, we're going to pick this up and we're going to right click and choose copy. And now we're going to our C drive, or whatever drive it is that you're using. And I need to find my program files, and I want to find Adobe. And I'm looking for Illustrator CC here. 64-bit is what I'm using. Now I'm going to Presets, Scripts. I'm just going to drop it in here. And on a Mac, you'll be dropping these into your preset script folder on the Mac, and you can probably find that using Finder. So I'm just going to get rid of all of these bits, and we're ready to get started in Illustrator. So I'm just going to choose File, New, and I'm just creating a 1000 by 1000 point image, but you can create yours of whatever size you like. So I'm just going to center this up in the screen here, and we're going to go ahead and create our Metaball, and we'll do that by creating two circles. So I'm going to select the ellipse tool and just click in the space here, and then type a size. Now I want mine to be a fairly large circle, so I'm going to make it 200 by 200 points in size. And here's my circle. And I'm going to fill it with a color, and I'm going to remove the strokes. So this is just a circle with a fill color but no stroke. I'm going to hold the Alt key as I drag a duplicate away. So I've got two circles here now, and this is going to be the foundation of my Metaball. So I'm going to select over these two shapes and run my script. Well, my script is in my scripts folder, so I can run it by choosing File and then Scripts. And what I'm looking for now is my Metaball script. Now if you're not finding it in the list, you can click Other Script to go and find it. So you'll just go and locate the folder in which you dropped your script. So I'm just going to find mine exactly the same way as I placed it in the first place. It's in my Preset Scripts folder. And I'm looking for my Metaball scripts. I'm just going to run it. And when I do, we get a rate option, and this allows me to determine how I want my balls to be joined together, or my circles to be joined together. So I can have a straight edge, or I can have them at different levels of being joined. So I'm just looking for something that is an attractive sort of option. Not too much and not too little. So I'm just going to select 57.8 for argument's sake and click OK. So there is my Metaball, and now I'm going to make this all one shape, which I can do by choosing Window and then Pathfinder. And from the Pathfinder options, let's just go and get the panel which has just taken a walk, I'm going to click the Unite option. So there is my Metaball. Now, because I want to be able to see this fairly clearly on the screen, I'm just going to shrink it down in size. So I'm holding the Shift key as I do that to shrink it down proportionally. And I want a duplicate of this, so I'm just going to hold the Alt key as I drag a duplicate away, and then I'll rotate it. Holding the Shift key as I rotate will ensure that it is rotated a full 90 degrees, so it's definitely upright. And I'm going to select over these two and just make sure that I horizontally align their centers so they're perfectly aligned. Now for a simple pattern, that's all I need. I'm just going to select over the two shapes, Object, Pattern, Make, and click OK. And go and get my patterns option here, and I just need to find a pattern style that is going to make this look a little bit better, because right now it's not the pattern that I want. We can try brick by row and brick by column, and obviously brick by column with a half brick offset is exactly what I want. Now the only thing that I'm concerned about is that the spacing here is different to the spacing here, so I need to close them up widthwise. So I'm going to go here into the pattern options dialog, and I'm going to make sure that I unselect the maintain width and height proportions, and I want to start decreasing the width, because that will bring the pattern pieces in closer together. And 200 points looks like a good setting for this. And this looks a fairly balanced sort of pattern, so if I'm happy with that, all I need to do is to click Done. And the pattern swatch is now added automatically for me. But let's consider now what would happen if we wanted a multicolor design. Well, we're going to start out by making a duplicate of each of these shapes. I'm going to click on each in turn and just drag a duplicate away. I'm going to arrange these so that they're starting to make the rest of the pattern. But I'm going to color these different colors, so I'm going to choose colors from this sort of approximate palette. So now I've got some interesting colors. I'm just going to make sure that everything is nicely centered. So I'm going to select horizontal align center for those two shapes, and then again for these two shapes. And I'm going to check the vertical center alignment here for these two, and then for these two. And I'm going to look to make sure that these spacings are pretty correct. If I wanted to, I could be really careful and do some measurements, but I'm just going to accept that they're pretty good there. So I'm going to select these four shapes now and choose Object, Pattern, Make. And here is our pattern. So again, we're going to select an option that's going to give us these pattern pieces, and I'm just going to use Grid. And I'm going to now bring these pieces closer together. So I'm going to lock them for now, and let's just shrink the width and height to bring these pieces in closer. And I'm thinking about 375 for each is probably going to be about the value that I want. Now I could save this out if I wanted to, and I'm going to do so right now. I'm going to click Save a Copy. And I'm going to call this Multicolor. Well, I'm going to call it Multicolor 1 because I actually want to create a second multicolor version while I'm here, because there's some interesting little spots here in the pattern that I may want to fill with something else. So I've gone to select the ellipse tool, and I'm just going to drag a circle here. So I'm holding down the Shift key to make sure that this is a circle. And let's go and get this orange color, which again is sort of from this general color scheme. And I'm going to Alt drag a duplicate of this shape away. And you can see that in placing it up here on the edge of our tile, it's been duplicated down here. And I'm going to do that again. Alt drag this shape here, and now it's duplicated across to the other side. And let's do that once more. Alt drag and just drop it down here, and now it's duplicated at each point of this square. So not only do I have my Metaball shapes, but I've got some circles as well. And if I don't want them all to be that color, they don't have to be. So I could come in here and make these different colors. I just need to work out which is the shape that is controlling all the shapes in this design. So let's just go and get this green color. So if I'm happy with that, I'm going to click done, because that's going to create yet another one of these patterns. Let's go and tuck all these pattern pieces out of the way so we can see what we've got. I'm using a script to create a rectangle the size of the artboard, just simply because I find it so easy to do. And I now have a path, a rectangle the size of the artboard, so I'm going to fill it with the first of our patterns, and that was just this plain Metaball shape. And of course, as with every pattern, we can resize it with Object Transform Scale. I'm not going to transform the object, I just want to transform the pattern. So I've pattern selected here, and I'm just going to reduce its size. So that was the pattern that we came here to create, but it's not, of course, the only pattern that we created. I'm just going to duplicate this path, and let's turn off that one that we just created. Let's now go and fill this with the other patterns that we created. Let's fill it with the multicolor pattern, and this is the plain multicolor pattern that we created, but we also created one that had circles in it, and this is this one here. So you can see that the Metaball shape gives you some really interesting options for creating patterns inside Illustrator. I'm Helen Bradley. Thank you for joining me for this video tutorial. Look out for more video tutorials here on my YouTube channel, and consider subscribing to my channel, and you'll be alerted when new videos are released. And visit my website at projectwoman.com, where you'll find more tips, tricks and tutorials on a range of applications, including Photoshop, Lightroom, Illustrator and a whole lot more.